Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live presentation by Amaranthine Books. And I think I speak for all of us included that this is the most exciting presentation we had today because we will be presenting two titles, final prototypes of two titles over 6 editions. As you can see, we're kind of in our old space because our new space is basically about to be renovated, and our Heidi is on a 3rd location, so we're kind of all over the place. I'm gonna just keep talking about our updates and what happened in the company and how we're progressing, so we have time for everyone to join in, because I think this time we actually managed to start on time. So yeah, we've been between offices, so we're kind of spread thin, but as you probably already heard, we have new people. So just like Sunčica and Danko joined us last fall, now we have 2 new people coming in. We worked with them over the contract, and then we realized that there's some kind of synergy there and that we could really work well together if we're in the same team, in the same space. And so we will hire 2 new people. First is Tana Marcheta, who is basically our marbling department. And I'm really excited to show you what she's been doing. And she will also be doing our bindings. And we have Philip Meitzen, who is joining us as kind of a rapid prototyping guy, so he does all the things that I imagine in my head but don't know how to do, so I tell it to him and he comes up with a way. And also he does the binding as well, but so we have the binding covered and the rest spread out. And of course that means that there are 6 of us in the Amaranth team. It's horrible, I know. So most of you are probably wondering about the progress in Sherlock. So Heidi is really working well. It has not always been working well. We had about 2 weeks downtime where the air pump was malfunctioning, so it was working, but it was not sucking in papers and properly transporting it to the cylinder. And with only these 2 weeks of downtime, we're still making headway. And I think Danko, who is operating the Heidi, told me that we'll be done in 2 weeks, so by the 17th of July. This means that all the papers, I think over 10,000 sheets, will be transferred to AKD. Now AKD is a company that previously printed money, Croatian money, back in the day, and now does all the government issued papers, so ID, passport and stuff. They did lenticular printing on Dorian because only they have such technology to do so, and we're trusting them with all the print run to add the illustrations and something special to it, but more on that later. Sherlock shipping I expect to happen before we've announced, so we announced for 3rd quarter, but by the looks of it, it could happen sometime in August. So we now have to do the AKD, which will last only a week, and then we're moving to sewing and then binding. So we're looking pretty good there. What else? Yeah. We'll be moving these kind of specific productions in-house. That's why we need to renovate the space, because we want to make a rapid prototyping possible. This means that we can come up with more creative things because we have more time to play with them, instead of sending an idea to someone and then waiting for them to find their gap in their schedule to make it for us and then send it back. And we already started doing that partly with Catch22, and I think you'll all be able to see the difference. There is also another thing before we go into the books, and it's regarding library edition. Now, we've noticed both internally and externally that the name is causing some confusion due to similarity to the lettered edition. So the short term cannot be LE, and it's kind of confusing. A number of times we inside Amaranthine have been confused, like because it's LE, and then pardon the French, things get messed up. So we've been thinking about renaming it to Essential Edition, which will make it easier to track. Now, this is not a problem even for Sherlock, because we're printing the title page, and which includes the colophon and the impressum. So we can still adjust that, and we wanted to include all of you into the decision. So please email us, write into the comments. Sunčica is monitoring everything, and she'll keep me updated with hand signals and gestures and goodwill about what's been around. So, what I'm about to present, and I think we can move on to the main show. How many people do we have watching?
22 on Facebook and 15 on YouTube.
Okay, let's go. So, all of these are blank hard proofs, because unlike before, we cannot, it's impossible to print them beforehand. Beforehand, we would just print the whole print run because it was offset printing and it was easy. Since it's letterpress, I didn't want to print digital just to have it filled done. We just did the proper paper, and then we inset it into the binding. And they have been sturdy tested for the past weeks, so some things, just to see if the things will wear out, what looks wrong, so it can be updated for the final product. So now, without further ado, let's present Sherlock Library or Essential Edition. And let's start with the case. So, as you can see, we've modified the case a bit compared to the one that you saw in the mock-ups. We actually made it better, I dare to say. So now it features both Italian cloth with blocked, with a brown foil blocked at the spine, and Savile brown paper on the front and back, and the front features the gold stamp. Now the reason we did this is you still have the book, normally blocked in brown foil, but let's say, I know I also have this problem, and why I dislike the slipcases is basically the dust gets like here and here, and you don't want that. So we wanted to print it back as well, so you can just stick it to the wall, and then there's no problem about dust getting in, and you still have this beautiful title there.
Marco.
Sorry?
Stuart and David are saying they're hearing a lot of background static noise.
Static noise. Could be the AC.
Could be the AC.
But if I go to turn down the AC, I have to turn down the live. So please bear with us.
Speak louder.
Or I'll speak louder. And is it happening both on Facebook and YouTube? No. Okay.
No clue.
Maybe YouTube is better because we're streaming from two phones in parallel. So this new design also keeps some old elements. We also have the hidden message as always. Put it right there. And as promised, this is a bookmark that is it actually has a lens, and it has 3 times magnification depending on how close you bring it. Now, phones usually correct their lenses to avoid it, but once you get it, you will see that it does a really good magnification. But let's move on to the binding. So we have a quarter-bound cover. This is the same Italian book cloth that was put on the case, and the brown Savile roll paper with UV printed pipe, and it features this UV printed, beautiful UV printed pattern. The pattern holds an Easter egg, and I'm gonna leave it to you to find it. But when you look at it, it's gonna be repeated somewhere else. Now, of course, this book is blank, but it uses Seville roll paper as promised, which has 140 grams, which has 20% cotton and 20% textile fibers. And the book is not too thick because it's not too voluminous, but surprisingly, letterpress printing looks really, really, really beautiful on it. And this is the Essential edition, by the looks of it. I'm gonna put this bookmark here. Now, we're moving on to the Detective edition, and this, both case and the book has seen some updates from the promised thing. Now the front features also this patch, which is lambskin suede leather, and it is hot stamped. So you have this kind of beautiful transition between, you know, texture of the suede and the hot stamping, which is like pressed in. And the cover features the same, but this is the reason why we do these prototypes, because, for example, we noticed that it's too wide and too tall. It doesn't have, the design doesn't have space to breathe, so we're gonna move to this one. But this one is just like a test. You see, it's not even Bluetooth, but you can see the difference, how better it looks just if you give the design like a little more space to breathe. Now let's see what's inside. So this is also the premium Italian cloth, and once you open it inside, you have our plush, this time in kind of a nice beige color. This is the message engraved with laser and the lambskin binding. Now, the stamping looks absolutely gorgeous. This is stamped at 118 degrees Celsius to really like bring it out. It even like turns a little bit brown. And the transition between like the suede and this tartan fabric, which this is made specifically for us. This is not something you can find in the store unless you copy us. So this is like custom made, and this transition is beautiful. Now, as promised, this is being printed on Hahnemühle custom made paper, and it's 140 grams, if I remember correctly, and it's 100% cotton, and it's going to be ready in 2 weeks for printing the illustrations.
How about the marbling paper inside?
See, I knew I'd forget something. Now, this is special, even though I forgot, but I have a lot to say today. So our marbling department has been hard at work. Donna has been doing some really wonderful things. Now, even though this is only 3 colors, I dare you to think so, because it's absolutely amazing. And you can see it has kind of a glitter. It's really beautiful. It really blends in well with the leather, so it's kind of nice transition into the book. You can see the paper on the other side. It's really coppery. Of course, forgot to mention Philip, who is our main prototype guy, did the box design and everything, and really props to him. So let's put this also on the shelf. Really looks nice. But you know, there comes a time when the gloves have to come on. So something big is going on. We have to go to the Clue edition, which I'm really excited to present because I think we surpassed even our own expectations. So, let me put it down gently. I present to you Sherlock Clear edition. Now this is made out of MDF panels. It has been varnished to perfection, so it's smooth, it's beautiful to touch, and it's really sturdy. It's kind of also a bit heavy, but still not as heavy as our previous Frankenstein, for example, or Dorian. So these detailing, knock knock. It's really hard with these gloves. I don't know why we do the gloves, but all of these details have been 3D printed and have been then painted gold. But what will happen in the end is they will be made out of anodized aluminum, so they will still be gold, but a little more sturdy. But for the prototyping, we always use rapid methods so we can get it done fast. But now let's see if our famous detective is home, and there we go. Now you just pull this, the books. Okay, you can do this like when the book is lying down, but you can also do it like this. This is not single purpose, because if you pull it, something magical happens. This is a mechanism developed completely in-house, and I will get to that a bit later, but first I want to talk about the book. Now, this book, and for this purpose I'm going to have to ditch the gloves because we want to get this done fast. This is goatskin leather. Of course, we source our leather from France, and this is the same leather used on the magnifying glass. Now, keep in mind that this is anodized aluminum to get the gold tint really right, and you can just take it off. It won't come off because the magnets are perfectly balanced. You can even read with it, but if you need to look in closer at the illustrations, you can just take it off, and that's it. Again, beautiful marbling done by Tana. And you can see here we have, I even forgot how many colors. Like there's 7 colors, and I don't think Facebook Live can even like transfer that kind of beauty, because it always down plays the video. But that's not all about this thing. Now, first I want to talk about this. So we're gonna move Sherlock's home a bit here, and we're gonna transfer this here. Now, this was a surprise that we didn't announce when the book was first published, because we wanted to create a mystery game for the lettered edition. So this is an example of what is being printed by AKD company. Now, for the purpose of the test, we did the following. We only created special hidden illustrations, which can only be visible under the ultraviolet light, on the same thing that has already been drawn, but in the final things, the hidden things will be something completely not drawn. So if you look at like this, now this picture of Mr. Holmes is this, but when you turn, oops, turn the light upside down. But if you turn, you can see the invisible ink. I'm gonna do it again, so it shines. Now, I usually don't like using electronics in books, but this is not technically it's not part of the book because the book is beautiful of itself. But we actually found like specific lights, ultraviolet that works at 360 nanometers. And this is kind of a detective game that you can play. It comes with a rechargeable battery, and it comes with an extra rechargeable battery. And it will give you something to look for in all 12 illustrations. So each illustration will have a couple of things hidden, and you will have something extra to do. Moving on. So this case is not just simple, because it has this beautiful pattern. If you remember it from the Essential edition, it's no longer library, from the looks of it. And you also get this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fountain pen in gold and black. But as a real detective, you also have to let me stick it back in. Okay. You also get your notebook. Now, in the final version, this notebook will be a detective's one that you flip over, but it will be in this beautiful material. And you'll get two. You'll get one that will always be able to, you don't have to use it, you can just put it here inside the book, and the other which you can use. But this is how we will handle our portfolios in the future. So you don't have to keep the art portfolio separate or the book, you can just put it on a shelf and you can list it over anytime you want. You put it back, wait, missed something. You put it back, you slide it in, it's flushed, and then we just open it and we return the book. Open and shut case, as they would say it. So we can put it here. Now, believe it or not, I still don't believe it, but there's still one copy in stock. If someone wants it, I think it's time to get it. And we will soon update the product photos, I think in any moment now. But don't go from the live stream because we're moving to Catch22. Now, before we go into any of the books, I think this will turn out to be our biggest book yet. It was definitely over 600 pages, so it's up there with Dracula. It will be in a lower end, but still will use a little bit more voluminous paper, so it's going to be thicker than Dracula, even thicker than Sherlock. What we wanted to do here is wanted to create a creative concept that will reflect the title, everything, all the absurdity of war that's been happening throughout the book. And this is why we've worked with Damir Mazinian, who has worked on Alice in Wonderland. And he had a task of creating illustrations with one special feature. But I will go into that a bit later because I want to show you.
Sorry, Marco.
Okay.
John is asking, is the spine of the library edition of Sherlock cloth or paper?
Binding. It's both cloth and paper. So are we talking for library, right?
Yes, or the essential.
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 The binding is Savile Row paper, so brown paper. Please come closer to the left. It's brown paper, and this is Italian cloth, so it's quarter bound. And the play of the material is really well, like even the how flushed they are, it's really perfect. Hope that answered it. But yeah, about the catch, there is a catch. I'll explain a bit on the creative concept and illustration. All you need to do for now is that we wanted to point out the absurdity of war and everything that Heller touched in the book. And we will post illustrations, like we will show you one today, and then we will keep posting illustrations over the next couple of weeks as we work on the book. You will, when the web shop goes live, you'll notice that we have not mentioned the paper. That is because it is still to be determined. So we have a fallback where we'll print it same as Sherlock on Hahnemuhle and Seville. But it's a pretty thick book, and we're experimenting with a couple of other producers to really bring out that letterpress printing, because we're doing both the text and the illustrations letterpress. So it's going to be really, really, really special. But I'm going to show you the illustration later. So it's time to go to the Essential Catch-22. And there you go. So this is the slipcase. It is bound in vivid red paper. It has white foil blocked on the back and on the front. The typography that we announced, it's called I forgot it. But it uses these optical illusions, which is something that we wanted to include because optical illusions and breaking of geometry and logic is akin to the absurd and the absurd of war, at least in our concept. And the book comes in striking blue. So this book is in premium Italian blue book cloth. This is screen printed all around, so both spine and cover. The cover features 22 bombs in a neat bombing pattern because Colonel Carhart was so very fond of them. And we like Colonel Carhart, sort of. And you have a red bookmark strip, and of course the book is empty, but inside the end papers are printed white on red paper to create a tessellation effect, which also is another kind of an optical illusion, where depending if you focus on white or red, you will see planes going left or right. I hope this doesn't turn in one of those internet discussions where half people see one thing and the other people see the other. And a special tribute to Milo Minderbinder. So this is the bookmark, but it's also a plum tomato. It's also a bomb, and it's also a plum tomato. It's a stamp of Milo, because we wanted to point out that in war always someone profits, but most people get hurt. And there you go. I think it's like I really love what we did with both numbered and lettered edition, but I think this is one that we ever made.
Do we maybe have a hidden message inside?
Oh, we maybe. You see, I forget. There's so many things to show. We have in this special typography that we made. Insanity is contagious. And I tend to believe that. So, this is the library of Catch-22. Now we're moving on to the numbered edition of Catch-22, which is made to look like a weapons crate from World War II era. So this is also the Italian premium book cloth in olive green color. This is white foil stamping in same typography, also on the spine. And once you open it, you know how those weapon crates filled with grenades and ammunition and guns were filled with hay. So we didn't, of course, fill it with hay, but we filled it with this plush material with message. And you're probably worrying more about this than about the plush. So this is our numbered edition.
Sorry, we may have lost signal.
On which thing?
Facebook says waiting for live video signal.
Sorry, the phone locked out.
Is it on?
It's on. We're back?
We're back.
Okay. So, as I was saying, this plush was inspired by the hay they used to put in the weapons crate, where they place the weapons, the grenades, and whatnot. But this is one of those unusual bindings that we're famous for. So, this book is made out of wood or plywood, and this spot.
I apologize, but the Facebook says that this live video has ended. Maybe it's switched into a new one?
Maybe switch to a new one. But it says it's live. Maybe it has ended and it's continued to a new one.
Wait.
27 watching.
This is 27 watching. It's Facebook. Who expects everything to work properly?
Okay, it seems to be okay now.
Okay. Sorry, Catch-22. Facebook is trying to So, as I was saying, this is goatskin leather with white foil stamping, and well, I'm gonna keep it up because the wood on wood. So this is plywood. We use telemarks because of, you know how Yossarian counts the number of missions before he can go home, and they used to track with telemarks how many airplanes they shot down or how many bomb runs they had. So we made 22 telemarks, and it looks really like organic. It's beautiful to touch. The combination of leather and wood is perfect, and inside. Now you'll see why we hired Dana. Where this is like one of the best marblings because it's camouflage inspired, and it really blends well with the book and the bookmark. So there you go. Of course. We use like a brown head end and with green ribbon. And now another piece de résistance, as they say, is I'm gonna just keep the gloves. Now this is the reason. This is the reason why, let me just get this out of the way. This is the reason why we hired Philip. And, oh yeah, sorry, my bad. Wait, let's put it here. I never had to present like so many books here, I'm just like getting lost here. So this is completely developed in-house. It will be completely assembled in-house. And also you'll see now why we do this before ordering a whole run, why we do these prototypes and hard proofs, because then you see some obvious mistakes like, oh, maybe we should have offset something. We corrected it in the pictures, don't worry. So this, oh, forgot to say, this is the Mission Edition. I know we're right? And this is the Bomber Edition. So the Bomber Edition was inspired by the canopy of the bomber B-25 Mitchell from World War II. It has this riveting, and in the final product the book will be shifted slightly to the left, so you don't have to worry about that. Now let's move on to the inside. It is covered, it is bound in this metallic premium paper, which is like really nice to reflect it, because in the we researched World War II bombers, and basically it showed that not all of them were like olive green. Some of them only had their like bellies covered in olive green. The rest of the plane was in this color, or vice versa, because they were experimenting what would be reflected in the sky. Now this is for shearling. Now akin to those bomber jackets which were filled with shearlings, and of course you can always take this book out, and our mechanism for the art portfolio, but we'll get to that later. Now the Bomber Edition has this really nice goat skin, which is kind of thicker, kind of like really soft to the touch. And as a real Bomber Edition, see, it's really like really heavy. So you get this patch, but you'll get two patches, so and two Velcros. So you can, if you have a bomber jacket, why not claim it? This patch was made specifically for us. It features, of course, 22 hidden by the airplanes and the bombs, and 22 stars, because we always like those details. And when we're thinking about, oh yeah, silver block foil on the spine. As we thought about what kind of marbled end papers we would have on this book, The idea was that we would like to demonstrate the sky as the bombers flew on their bomb run, which was filled with flak fire. So it's inspired by the blue skies and the flak fire in the sky. Also beautiful marbling die by Tana. There we go. Another one. Now, let's move to the art portfolio and we can show you the first presentation, the first illustration of Catch-22. Now this is completely letterpress printed, two tones, very demanding to make, but it's so beautiful. Like if you touch it, you can really like sense all the texture there is. And if you look closely, every illustration has something that breaks the logic inside, because the war is absurd, the sky is not blue, it's red, and so look at the tower, the legs of the tower, and you can notice how weird they are. We were inspired by drawings of Escher, who often created such illustrations, and all 22 illustrations will feature such details hidden inside. Now let me put this inside, and we can put it back. As you can see, it automatically retracts the... I think we will make this silver in the end, but we just wanted to play with this. You can put it in, it's flushed, there we go. And now, the big thing is...
Marco,
yeah,
Pretty is asking us, are the illustration letterpress printed only
Yeah.
in the lettered edition or in
All-
all three
all
editions?
three will be printed letterpress in two tones. So all books, letterpress full end to end and in two tones. We're
Okay.
not skimping on anyone. And Sherlock is also both books are printed in two tones.
Okay, another good question. What form of relief printing are you using for the letterpress illustrations? Is it plate, lino cut, woodcut?
We will be using either photopolymer or magnesium. Photopolymer might give us better detail. Magnesium might give us a bit of a crisp. I know everyone talks about the crisp, but we printed Sherlock with crisp and polymer, like fine. In the end, we ended up with magnesium, but I don't see the crisp. I think crisp is a lie. With modern polymers are actually have bigger duress than magnesium. And there you go. Now, another big thing that we did is that we have started to standardize our editions. So, no matter which book you buy, if you line them up on the shelf, you will have the logo lined up and it will look nicely. So, that's for all the books. So I have to just mention that except in Sherlock, all leather used is goatskin. Sherlock used lambskin because it's better in suede. So now we can talk about shipping. Shipping, as always, remains free and insured worldwide. So Sherlock will probably start shipping in August, which means Catch will probably start shipping, I think, 2 months later, because Sherlock is basically done. We were almost done with letterpress, so it's just not binding, which goes actually faster than letterpress. But there's a lot of pages to print for Catch-22, over 600 books, so it's gonna take some time. So expect October, November, probably October, but just think November. Question?
Rod is asking, can you talk about font selection, and do you have any examples you can show of how the letterpress print is coming out?
Actually, I do. I'm just gonna wait a second until I get a paper. I actually forgot about this thing because I moved on. So we brought one of the papers from the letterpress. I'm just not sure will you be able to see this. So this is the segment of Sherlock called the Devil's Foot. This is honeymoon. It's really nice and thick. I'm not sure because I know always Facebook and I think YouTube maybe has a better quality, but it always like downplays the quality. But you can feel it on your fingertips. And Sherlock is printed in Baskerville, completely in Baskerville, while Catch22 will use two typographies. The one that you see on spine, which I completely forgot the name of, which has this logic breaking thing going on. We will use that for chapter titles, and for now, I think we're deciding between Garamond and Carlson for the final typography on Catch22. It's still to be determined because we're trying to see how it plays well with this typography. Hope that answers the question. So as for pricing, so as you can see compared to this, this book will be pretty thick because we made it in like the number of pages that is going to happen. We now, since Sherlock, we have special matching rights pricing and the public pricing that happens when the public creators go online. So I'll list the prices in euros because our site usually automatically converts the currency depending on the current exchange rate. So I can't know like what it is from day to day, and the volatility seems to have come down. So we were thinking the Essential edition, it seems it will be called Essential now, will be priced at 200 euros for special matching rights pricing, and public will be 230 euros. So the numbered edition, the Mission edition, will be priced at special matching rights for 600 euros and 650 for public, while the Bomber edition will follow the same pricing of Sherlock Holmes, which means all of you who have special matching rights pricing is 2,600 euros, while the public will go for 2,750 euros. And if you don't want to wait for the public, you can of course buy Sherlock. I think we have a couple of numbered editions in stock. We have Essential. We have Essential in stock, so you can buy and you can automatically skip the wait time. There's a question.
There's a question. John is asking if you see more Sherlock stories in the future.
Definitely. Sherlock Holmes stories, by the looks of it, for now, will happen once per year. So probably after the Space Odyssey, we will do one of the Sherlock novels. Our goal is, of course, if there's interest for it, our goal is to make one Sherlock novel per year, and we're of course keeping the design in mind. So it will be different materials, different colors, but the same design pattern is going to remain through all editions, except letter. Letter is always kind of a special case. But as we're talking about future titles, there is also what happens next. As you all know, we've been talking about Space Odyssey. We already had like contract up to sign, but we wanted to wait for that one big thing, and we've been working on it for a couple of months now. It's been verified, so we have officially requested an updated contract, and if all goes well, it should be signed in the next few days. We won't announce what the big thing is right away because we have to wait for, let's say, a date when it can happen. But we will hint at it. There will be a lot of hints, and there will be a lot of excitement. Let's say if everything goes as planned, it will be a lot of excitement about it. But there are also future titles. Like we don't have anything firmly set for the future titles after Odyssey and Sherlock. So what we plan to do is poll on our newsletter. We'll send you a poll with some titles and you can vote. There are some misdirections, some complete things that we'll never do, and some things that we will definitely do, but just to mix things up. We'll send them all and you can just vote, and then we'll see what we'll do next. As promised, the web shop is going to be open right after this presentation. You just have to give me a couple of minutes to get behind the computer and, you know, set everything up to go live. It seems to me that we're definitely renaming the library to Essential. I do hope that Danko hasn't printed the front. He said he won't print the front page first. It's called like the title page, yeah. So 3 days for matching rights holders. You will receive a confirmation email. If something goes wrong and you can't purchase, please be patient with us, because the web admin guy is this guy and I'm alone in it. And please be gentle. Sunchital will be helping out on emails, and we'll help each and every one of you. Have 3 days before you need to before it goes public, so all should be well. Thank you for joining us. I hope you like these editions. We really love this this beautiful product that we made, especially because of the standardization, because now your Remnant shelf will actually be OCD friendly. Thank you and goodbye.